Kylie from East Bay SPCA. I am one of the medical support and foster coordinators at East Bay SPCA. I've been sheltering in place for the last few weeks with some foster kittens. I'll go ahead and introduce you right now since everyone wants to see kittens. So here are my three babies. This is Roxy. She's super playful, definitely the instigator of the bunch. This is Velma. Velma is super cuddly. She's also really playful. As you can see, she wants to cuddle right now. And this is Billy. Billy is our big boy. He's always hungry, he's always looking for more food, always looking for snuggles. I got these guys when they were about 10 days old, and now they're going on 4 weeks, so we're actually getting past that bottle feeder stage, but they are still eating from a syringe, a mixture of formula and wet food, so they're growing really fast. You'll probably hear them chime in while I'm talking, so please ignore them in the background. So today I'll be sharing some information about kitten care with you guys. We are heading into kitten season, so this is the time of year when kitten fosters, especially our bottle baby fosters, are super important. So whether you're fostering a kitten through our organization or you are finding some kittens outside that you want to care for, hopefully this information is helpful to you all. So I'll go ahead and get set up here. Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to share some kitten information with you guys. I'm going to break it down into 4 steps to make it easier. So step 1 is to make sure that your kitten is warm. So whether you are fostering a kitten with an organization or you are finding a kitten outside, the first thing you want to do is make sure that that kitten is nice and warm because they are super small, they're really fragile. We want to make sure that their body temperature is up before we even think about doing anything else. So one of the best ways to do that, we use these awesome warmy discs. We have a bunch of these at the shelter, so if you are fostering with us, we're happy to give you one of these. You can get these online. I think you can get them on Amazon. So you stick them in the microwave for the amount of time it tells you, and it actually stays warm for like 8 hours. So you can pop that in their crate or wherever you're keeping them, and this will help keep them warm for quite some time. You just want to make sure that if you're using any kind of heating device like this, or if you use a sock with rice or a heating pad, you want to make sure that there's some kind of bedding between the kitten and the heating device. You want to make sure that the kitten isn't going to get burned from it because it can get really hot. So it's nice to put a little blanket on top, and you'll see they tend to gravitate and sleep on top of the warming device. Another thing is you want to make sure that the heating device does not take up the entire space that the kitten has. You want to make sure that they can move away from the heating device if they get too warm. So those are really helpful. Once your kitten is warm, then you can start thinking about feeding. So feeding all depends on the age of your kitten and how much they weigh. So what's helpful is if you go online, you'll find a lot of charts like this that will actually tell you how much a kitten should eat based on its age and its weight. So when I first got my kittens, they were about 10 days old, so they were just on straight KMR formula. Here's the KMR can. You can also find this online, or if you're fostering with us, we're happy to supply you with KMR. So they were just on the KMR, and I looked at this chart. I weighed my kittens every day with a food scale. Super helpful, nice little scale. So once I got their weight, I was able to calculate how much formula they needed and how often they needed to be fed. So we have a general rule of thumb where kittens are fed every 2 hours if they're under 2 weeks, every 3 hours if they're under 3 weeks, every 4 hours if they're under 4 weeks. So as you can see, taking care of bottle babies is definitely an around-the-clock job. When it comes to feeding, there are a few different things you can use to feed. We have bottle kits like this that are really awesome. I love using this bottle here, but what I actually prefer to do is to get a different nipple. So this is called a miracle nipple. Kittens really take to this much better than these ones that come with the bottle kit. It's a more natural shape and it's already pierced, so you don't have to go through that whole process of trying to pierce the nipple. So you actually take the miracle nipple and put it on the bottle that comes in the kit. This is an amazing tool. My kittens were drinking from this until they started getting their teeth. So you can use the bottle. It's really great. You basically just, like a baby, make sure the formula's down here. The kittens are going to do all the work suckling the milk out of the bottle. You can also use a syringe, and these miracle nipples, if you get an oral syringe, they pop on to the end just like that. This is a really great way to see exactly how much your kitten's eating because it does have measurements on it. And also for your kittens that aren't quite suckling yet, they're kind of still getting the hang of the whole artificial nipple thing, you can push on the plunger just a little bit to kind of get them going. So this is also a great tool. For formula, you want to make sure that the formula is warm. So like we said, kittens are small, fragile, don't maintain their body heat very well. So we want to make sure we're feeding warm formula. If we're feeding cold formula, it's going to drop the kitten's temperature, and we don't want that. The best way to do that is to take your bottle of formula or your syringe of formula and stick it in a jar or a bowl of hot water. That way it warms the formula without making it too hot. We don't want to microwave the formula because it can make it way too hot for the kitten. So I will actually demonstrate how to feed on one of my kittens. My kittens are older, they have teeth, they get really crazy at feeding time, so we will see how this goes. So this is Miss Velma. Velma is one of our more polite eaters, so she's gonna be our demonstration today. I know you're hungry. Okay, so when you're feeding a kitten, I know, you want to make sure that they're in a horizontal position like this. It's the most natural position. It's the way that they would nurse from mom, and that way everything is going in the correct way. Want to make sure that we're not feeding kittens up like this or on their backs, because it can cause the formula to go into their windpipe and they can aspirate. So I just have a little bit for her. So you just want to hold their head a little bit. With the older ones, you don't have to support their head as much because they are stronger. You just kind of wiggle it in there and they'll just start doing the work. With the syringe and the bottle, you can actually kind of see and feel them starting to suckle, and they'll sometimes even pull the plunger down themselves because they're suckling so strong. It's pretty cute. And a lot of times too, you can see their ears wiggle when they eat, which is so adorable. Almost there. There we go. Sometimes they don't want to release. So that is one of the ways you can feed with a syringe. Pretty similar if you're feeding with a bottle. Just make sure it's tilted like that, wiggle the nipple into their mouth, and they'll usually just start going. So after feeding, we need to stimulate kittens to go to the bathroom. So this is something that mom usually does, but since mom isn't here, we have to take over and do that for them. Usually kittens about 0 to 4 weeks need to be stimulated. Right around 4.5, 5 weeks, they start using the litter box, so we can back off of that a little bit, but I will show you guys how to stimulate. You want to stimulate after every single feeding. So you're going to get urine every single time you stimulate, and you should be getting stool about once a day. That's pretty normal. So you can use a tissue or soft toilet paper. You can use a wet rag, something that is really soft for the kittens since they do have sensitive skin. So what you're going to do is take whatever material you're using, and you can just, if you're crazy, you can do it down here. You're just going to take it and just gently rub their bottom, and they'll almost immediately start going to the bathroom. So you can just keep doing that. Once your rag or your tissue gets soiled, you're going to want to use a different one. And just keep going until you don't get anything on the tissue anymore. I know, hurry. Okay. And then you have a fed and pottied kitten. With stimulating, every kitten is different, so if you notice that they are not going to the bathroom normally, or they have runny stool, that kind of stuff, it may be a diet issue. So we usually recommend that if your kitten hasn't gone to the bathroom, like hasn't had stool in quite some time, you can help them by watering down their formula. So you can switch it to a 3 parts water, 1 part powder ratio to get them more fluids. If your kitten's having loose stool or it's kind of a weird color, you might want to look into, they might be eating too much. Kittens do have a stomach capacity. It's often written on the charts online for feeding. So if you are going over that stomach capacity, their body might not be able to handle that much formula or that much food at one time. So you might want to try doing more frequent, smaller feedings, and that could help. Okay, thank you for doing a good demo. So after feeding and stimulating, one of the last steps is to make sure your kitten is clean. Moms usually groom their kittens constantly. They groom them when they're just sleeping, when they're nursing, all the time. Moms are so great at keeping their kittens clean. So when we're taking care of kittens and they don't have their mom, we need to step up and fulfill that role. So if you have really, really dirty kittens, we do recommend that you can bathe them in diluted Dawn dish soap and warm water. This will help clean off any feces, urine, food, anything that's kind of caked on them, because they can get pretty gross after a while. And it can also help get rid of fleas that are on kittens, especially when they're too young to receive flea treatment. So if you are going to bathe a kitten, just make sure that they are staying warm throughout the entire process. Use warm water, make sure you dry them off really, really well after, and then you can place them back on their warmie to make sure that they stay warm after their bath. If your kitten is just a little bit dirty, definitely wipe down their face, especially around their eyes. Make sure there's no food around there. We want to prevent any eye infections, those kinds of things. And also make sure to wipe off their rear end after stimulating to keep that area really clean. Make sure that they don't get any burns from urine or feces. So once you once you start caring for kittens, you kind of get into your own routine. You start to figure out what works best for you and what works best for your kitten. So it is a lot of trial and error, but after you do it once, you honestly just become kind of a kitten pro. So here at East Bay SPCA, if you're fostering with us or you find kittens and you are gonna take them in and feed them yourselves, we're happy to give you some information. We have really awesome neonatal kitten manuals that we can give you. We're definitely here to help if you ever need anything. If you do want to become a foster with us, you can go to eastbayspca.org under the Get Involved tab and become a foster parent. We're always in need of foster parents, especially bottle fosters, so if that's something you're interested in, please go ahead and do it because kitten season is coming. One more thing, if you do find kittens, we really recommend that you leave them and kind of check out the area, see if mom's gonna come back. A lot of times mom will just go look for food, and she actually will come back to her kittens. So we want to see if the kittens can just stay there for a bit and mom comes back. If mom doesn't come back, that's the time when you can call your municipal shelter and let them know and see what the best option is. And if you are close to us, you can take them to our full service clinic and we will take them in. So just some information there. A lot of times kittens are taken away when mom might still be coming back, and it is best for kittens to stay with their mom. Let's see. I think that's it for you guys. Let's see if I have any questions. I know my kittens are really cute. Thank you guys. I think that's it for today. We're always happy to answer any questions. Feel free to contact us if you need some more information about kittens and kitten care. So everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.